What's up, Safari Nation? Welcome back to yet again another video. I am so psyched to be back. I missed you guys so much. I've been really busy with a lot of guiding and it's been going well, good for business, but I haven't been getting to these YouTube videos and to my other social media platforms much. So I'm excited to be back and I'm excited to have a bit of a breather and get things going again. For today's video, I'm going to be doing a review on this bad boy. So this is the Celestron 20-60 zoom spotting scope with the 80mm diameter. Now I recently purchased this guy because I needed a spotting scope for all the bird specific tours that I'm doing. It's really great for wildlife spotting and all the other tours as well, but specifically for the bird watching, you want something that brings the birds in nice and close and gets you a good view of them. Because of me starting my own business recently, I had to purchase a scope on a pretty tight budget, and I came across this guy and I was quite excited when I found it. But yeah, I'm gonna head over into the unboxing, then you'll see what you get. So I ordered the scope and it came in this nice sturdy box in the mail. As you can see, it's the Celestron Trailseeker, but yeah, good quality box, good packaging. On the inside, it's nice and padded and the scope is properly protected. And once you open the box, at the top you get the scope bag. What's nice about this bag is it's made in such a way that you can put the scope inside and you can use the scope by opening this little sleeve at the bottom that makes you mount the scope with the bag on the tripod. So it opens up on the front and the back and it's easy to, well, if I can get it open, easy to use all around. It's slightly padded, it is weather resistant, so it's a pretty good bag to use over the scope. But here's the bad boy. You can see the packaging is nice and sturdy, and yeah, you can see there's the front end, the back end. The eye cover is nice, it covers the entire eyepiece. You got this lens hood that pushes all the way out to give you protection from any sun glare. This metal cover covers the entire eyepiece, which I really like. And yeah, there's the eye relief. Then you've got your 20-60 times zoom eyepiece. There you can see the nice rubberized coating which covers the entire scope, protects it nicely. The kind of swivel ring that goes around the scope so you can angle it to whichever angle you need it. And then yeah, the focus knobs. Now I have to add that this isn't a sponsored video. Starting at the top end of the scope has this 20-60 zoom eyepiece. Now I have to be honest, I have unboxed this thing about a month ago, actually, when I first purchased it. I've tried out this scope in the field for the last month now. I've had a couple of birding tours, did a little bit of conservation work, looking at various mammals and that kind of thing. I've had some really good experience using the scope in the field. And with the eyepiece, that's the 20-60 times zoom, I personally find that once you get up to about 40 times zoom with the eyepiece, the image starts getting a little blurry, and from my perspective it starts getting this kind of bluish tinge on the silhouette or the outer edges of your subject that you're looking at, which is really weird. I've never had that in a scope, but going all the way up to 60 times zoom doesn't really work that well. 20-30 times zoom, really good optics, and then up to 40 times zoom you can push it, but the scope needs to be extremely stable at 40 times zoom for you to get a good view of what you're looking at. The eye relief on the scope, you can see this little guy turning out and turning back in. I would have liked it to be a little bit more. I feel that I keep my eye slightly away from it, and then it goes all the way down to the bottom if you have prescription glasses. I really enjoy the focus system on this scope. The previous scope I worked with had this very large ring in the center that you had to turn, and it didn't have a fine focus. It was just one main focus. What I like about this guy is you've got your rough kind of focus mode and then your finer setting once you kind of pretty much have your subject in full view, which I really like. I spend a lot of time birding from a bird hide, and the fact that you can twist this piece here and drop the angle of the scope to all the way you can turn the scope 360 on the tripod, but that means that you can go from a sitting up position in the scope, you can twist it, put it down up to about a 90-degree angle, then it's better eye relief, whereas if it was on the tripod here, you can't really see. It's a bit high, so you just turn it and then there. So that's a really cool feature. Most scopes have it nowadays, but it's good to see that it's in this one. Then another cool feature is you can see that the optics are a little bit sunk into from the hood, from the actual hood of the body. So there's already a bit of shade from the sun, and then if you push it all the way out, you've got a good extension that gives you good shading from the glare, so that really helps a lot. Good armored coating, nice rubbered kind of armored coating, which is really nice, and supposed to be weatherproof, supposed to be water resistant. I have birded with it in the rain a little bit, and the optics are still clear. It didn't pick up any fog, anything like that. One thing that I really enjoy about this scope that I've seen a lot of people mention in their reviews that they don't enjoy is the actual eyepiece cover. Now the eyepiece cover, it's this kind of metal cover that slides over the entire eyepiece, and then it screws in, over the eyepiece, so it protects the entire eyepiece. And personally I like that, because when I'm transporting my scope, it can take a bit of a knock, and it can kind of be handled a bit roughly, which I do in the field, and it will still be protected, which is good. This is a really cool feature. I like this. And then lastly, when you order the scope as well, it comes with this carry pouch, which is really cool. I actually didn't shoot a shot of this in the field, but it's a pretty cool setup. You put your scope inside here. Let me just get that in there. So you can zip it up entirely, then you've got a carry handle for your scope, or you've got a strap to put over your shoulder. But the nice thing about this pouch is that it's got a zipper at the bottom here, so you can put your scope on the tripod whilst the bag is over it. So this protects it, which is really cool. You just unzip the front end, and then it just sticks at the bottom there, so that's out of the way. And then the two pieces on the side here, you fold over and you tie them at the bottom, and then you can use your scope whilst it's in the cover. So I prefer using the scope without the bag on the tripod itself. It just makes it easier to maneuver and use, and it picks up less resistance from the wind and keeps the scope more stable, especially if you're using a lighter tripod. Okay, pros. Well, first of all, I'd have to say the price. $120 for this scope, and the quality of the scope that you get for that, really good. I don't think you can really get anything else of this power, of this size, for that price. I really like that it's got this rubber armor coating, which makes it more weather resistant. It can take a knock or two. I do like the fact that this piece here moves so that you can angle the scope to whichever angle you need. And the eye relief piece is also a big pro. I've birded with some scopes and used scopes on safaris that don't have that eye relief. Cons. The main thing that really gets me is that you can only really use the eyepiece zoom up to about 40 times and not 60 times. And I would have liked to have that kind of extra distance, but it's still pretty good. And then the other main thing is I found that with a little bit of use and a little bit of jiggling and wiggling, this lock mechanism that the eyepiece uses loosens. So every now and then you just have to check it and push your eyepiece, because otherwise it pulls out like that. So you just push your eyepiece down and just tighten this bottom lock mechanism. So I found that it's important to check this mechanism at least once a week or whatever, depending on how often you use this scope in the field. I decided to go for the 80mm front end instead of the 100mm because I do need to travel with the scope quite a bit. It is quite light. I find it easy to travel with. I just tie it to my backpack and it doesn't really add to the weight all that much. So with the 80 millimeters, I find it's sufficient, letting in enough light so that you can get a good crisp view of your subject. But I can only imagine that the 100 millimeters will let in even more light and give you an even better view. And maybe the 100 millimeters will allow you then to zoom in further than 35, 40 times. But all in all, I say it's really good bang for your buck. You get a really good set of optics for the money that you give out. And I think for anyone starting out as a birder, starting out as a wildlife enthusiast, this is a really good piece of equipment, and I would highly recommend this if you need to buy this scope on a budget. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I am so happy to be back. I'm so excited for the next couple of months and what I have in store for you guys. So make sure that you like and subscribe and don't miss any of the good content coming your way. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.